She Is Serious, a podcast where we showcase female athletes and their impact beyond the game. Each week, we will be bringing on influential women in the world of sports and showing why they are so much more than athletes. My name is Taylor Hall. I'm a health and fitness influencer and collegiate athlete at Biola University. And this is my sis, my co-host, Ashley White. What's up, girl?
Hey, y'all. Hey, my name is Ashley White, a former student athlete manager for UNCW's women's basketball, a blogger, writer for Beautiful Ballers, and an advocate for women in sports. Thank you for tuning in weekly to She Is Serious podcast. And this is why female athletes are now to be taken seriously. Yes.
Hey sis, welcome back to another episode of She Is Serious. Today we have a very special guest on. I'm so excited to have my trainer, Elijah Knox. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thank y'all for having me.
This is our first male on the podcast, everybody. So it's a, time we need to note in history, but he's doing big things for the world of women's sports, big advocate. So first of all, Elijah, we'd like to ask you, what is your sports story?
Taylor, Ashley, thanks for having me. My sports story, I grew up in the 90s in Chicago, so you can guess my love of basketball started with the great one, Jordan. I wasn't good until I was like an 8th grader though. And then from there, I never kind of looked back, kind of took off. I moved to Arizona my sophomore year, Cave Creek. I don't know if anybody's ever been there listening to this, but probably not. Small town, Arizona, northern suburb of Scottsdale. So not great basketball at all. I used to have to drive all the way to like where Taylor, you're from, to find good hoop sessions. And
Really?
Yeah, I used to drive like 45 minutes to find a decent run.
Mm.
And then I ended up going to a school in Iowa called Simpson because they recruited me the heaviest and it was close to Chicago. I wanted to get back to the Midwest. Went there all 4 years. And then going into my junior year, I just had a real life conversation with some mentors I had at the moment, kind of like figure out, okay, to make it in the NBA, you got to be like an alien. Like your blood got to be different. You got to be able to like have an ankle sprain and guard Steph Curry the next night, or like bang your head and then get back up. I'm not an alien. I'm not blessed with that. But I could have gone overseas like a lot of people at my skill level did. But a lot of my mentors, they get done playing overseas like 40, and they really like kind of start their lives, finding their spouse, having kids, finding their career. I wanted to be 40 kind of on the downside of that. So at 19, I decided, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to work in sales and marketing because that was my major, and then coach on the side. Coaching on the side about 7 years later became my business, Arizona Athletics. That's how I met Taylor, training Taylor. And then now I'm the only player development coach for the Mercury. So that was kind of a super fast version, but that's my sports story.
Dang, you went through you went from like.
I didn't want to ramble. I mean, I don't know how much you really,
I mean, I feel like you're such a humble guy because I didn't know all this stuff about you. And also, okay, so I've had a lot of trainers throughout my life, but you are the only one that's actually doing game-like situation stuff. I feel like a lot of trainers are out here, 2 ball pounds, whatever, like unrealistic stuff. So I grew my game the most this last summer when I trained with you. So I wish I would have been with you earlier because you're legit for real.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I take a passion in that. I mean, like I said, I wasn't good at all. So like I just studied the game a lot, and I became a bucket myself. And most people I know that actually can score the ball or like really good at basketball that aren't like physically gifted. Like I'm a 6'2" dude with like decent vertical, but I'm not like Ja Morant. So, I had to figure out how to be skilled, and the stuff that I put you through is stuff that I would just do in the gym by myself that worked. And then I've developed, kind of ways to make it cleaner and better over time. So I appreciate you noticing that. But yeah, most trainers, I mean, these days it's like, like the trendy thing to do. Like being in girl sports all of a sudden is a trendy thing to do. Being a trainer became a trendy thing to do. So a lot of people just hopped into it because they think it's like going to get you followers on Instagram.
I do have a question. What's the training session like? Difference between training women and training males? Like, what's the difference between that in game wise as well as like personal relationships?
I'll do the personal relationship ones because that's the easiest. Personal relationship, not much different. I mean, I think anybody just wants to know that like you care about their game, like how to get them better. And you got to actually want to do that, which isn't hard. This is natural. And then relationship wise, outside of that, I mean, people just want to know you care about them in general. So, I'm fortunately enough, I've been training 13 years. So like, I only train people that I want to train and I believe in like their ability. So that's easy for me. Like back in the day, I used to have to train 5-year-olds and that was harder to convince myself to do. But I've run into a player like Taylor who's in her last year of basketball, so she knows what she wants. She knows what school she goes to. Like she knows her system, and she grew up swimming, so like she has that like go hard, like I'm gonna do whatever you ask. So players like that you meet, you just gotta like rein in of like you don't have to push them hard. They're gonna go hard every rep anyway. The difference between training girls and guys though on court is like I mean it's just vastly different. Like guys have to be so dynamic that you got to be able to do an incredible amount of things. And your team needs you to do those things. The girls game just isn't predicated on that. Like they don't like for the Mercury, like Taurasi doesn't need to be able to, cross tween, pound, step back, come off, whatever. She's used and how she's used. And that's kind of typically how, team to team, how girls will be used. On a guy's game, like, me, I play point, but some teams I might have to play shooting guard because I am 6'2", can dribble off. So it just girls are more. It's easier. It's easier to develop results in game with girls because their game is typically going to be the same from team to team or situation to situation.
So what have you noticed like the hardest in implementing from training into game situations for girls?
I would say confidence. Confidence. It's usually harder to get girls to shoot the shots they should shoot. Guys, it's more about don't shoot that. Girls is like, hey, like that closeout's kind of there, but I mean, I just seen you shoot 800 shot threes yesterday, and you made 600 of them. Shoot that.
Yeah, I think that's me. Like, we would train and you would be like, dude, what are you doing? In open runs, like I just saw you shoot all these shots, make them, and you like we played one-on-one and like you killed me, whatever. And then it's like, what are you doing?
One time. Don't sleep. You got the footage.
No, I actually beat you multiple times, so we can pull it up. I still have the what is that, home court?
Home court.
Yeah, I still got it.
I'm sorry, but the face y'all made talking about, oh, I beat you a bunch of times, and Elijah's face was like,
is definitely a reach, but she did give me like.
It's just if you give Elijah room to shoot, he's just gonna miss. You know what I mean? Like if you get up close to him, he'll definitely go by you for sure because he got that quick first step. But
come to Arizona anytime soon.
Yeah, actually, I'll be there next week.
Okay.
Are you just filling out his secrets? Just like
I'm gonna come out to Gilbert and we're gonna go in your backyard.
Okay.
It's in front of your dad, and then I'm like, yo, she asked for this on this podcast.
Let's go. We'll go into my my home court advantage though. My front yard hoop.
Oh, I love it. Outdoor hoops is my favorite. I get my little bounces in there.
I don't know if it's gonna favor you though. We'll see. We'll see.
But yeah, I mean, you are not alone. Even at the pro level. And it's funny, like the hype around Caitlin Clark is deserved. She grinds like no other. But I don't see her grind like your grind is very similar to her grind. It's just she will shoot a shot that is questionable, and you will only shoot the shot. Not you only, but typically girls will shoot the shot that's safe or like somebody won't be mad at them about. And it makes it easy for a defender. Like if I think you might shoot a decently tough shot, I'm gonna fall for that pump fake, and that's gonna allow you to get to your drive and then allow you to play 4-on-5 and kick to people. So I would say for training, I find my most success training girls is by having a film element attached to it. So I can say, hey, look, here's that shot you turned down. How do we get you to do that? And then once they believe in it more, which takes a process, it doesn't happen overnight, then it opens up the entire game.
Yeah, no, I love that because Elijah would film our workouts with this app called Home Court, which was nice. And then we were able to see ourselves. Like he would be like, oh, you're doing a slow first step here, or you need to make a quicker move here. And like I didn't realize that myself, but then looking at the film was super helpful to see and break that down. And then I was able to implement that more. So like over summer, that really helped me. That was something that's a lot of trainers don't do, I think. Um, so, how rewarding has it been working up to now being the player development coach at the Mercury?
Super, super rewarding. Like it's up to this point, it's been it's kind of hard to gauge success like in when you're an entrepreneur of any kind. Um, you don't want to put it on financial things because those come and go. I'm not big into social media. So like I don't gauge it on that. Um, I kind of gauge it on time spent at this point of like, okay, I can spend 24 hours a day doing something, but like that doesn't leave room for anything else. So this is like, the biggest thing that's happened to me of like, okay, when you were 19, you made the decision not to go overseas was that was good. Cause at 32, you wouldn't be here at all. I think it's been the most rewarding of like, okay, like we're on the right path. We're doing the right thing. Cause I mean, I've got kids that are in college that's got scholarships that won state championships, everything, all that stuff. But this is the first thing that's like, okay, well, like now on my resume, I'm hired by the Suns. So the Suns hired me to be the WNBA coach. So I have a, NBA thing on my resume, which is pretty cool.
That's so sick.
Yeah.
Do you feel like, what have you felt like the game has changed in when you were growing up in regards to skill wise, as well as the awareness of women in sports, women athletes?
That's a great question. So was that first question about how the game has changed for women or just in general?
Both.
For women, it's going to be hard for me to answer. I would say
From like your
probably
point of view, especially like
right. Yeah. My first client I trained ever was a girl. So like, but that was only 13 years ago. So I didn't grow up my whole life watching the women's game. Obviously, I knew about UConn and Tennessee, the big names, all those, Brittany Griner, everybody that's big. So it wouldn't be fair for me to answer that from a girl's perspective, but from just a general skills perspective, I would say the game is more skilled than it's ever been. Like I got so many kids that can go between the legs, behind the back, spins, but they don't know how to use that to actually be effective with. So I think when I first became a trainer, the skills levels were low. Like so, like I used to do like a lot of just like, okay, you need to learn how to go between your legs, you need to go behind the back. But now because of social media is on the phone, so like if before I used to have to like, you guys aren't. How old are you actually?
I just turned 31 2 weeks ago.
Did you hoop?
I hooped and I was a manager for UNCW, the mid-major Division 1 team. But I
Have you ever
did.
heard of this thing called Better Basketball? It was like
Yes.
anyway, you had to like order the DVDs. It was like the infomercial came on.
You guys
Yeah.
are old.
Yeah, 91 maybe.
I'm
Let's get it.
I'm sorry. We 90s babies still look great, okay?
Talk to him. Let him know. But anyways, we're gonna sidetrack. But maybe never mind. So you had to order DVDs to get like skills development or like go to a camp. Now, like, my 2-year-old nephew has an iPad. So like skills are like on the Instagram for free. Every trainer's doing, something online. So now I think the IQ of the game is like as low as it's ever been, in my assumption. So it's like that real life like training is even more important than it was when I first started. Before it was like, yeah, I'm telling someone that knows how to make that read already how to do it, but they don't know how to get to it. They can't do the move to get to it. Now it's like they can do the move, they just don't know when and where and why to do that move. So I would say that's been the biggest difference I've noticed. And then what was your second question? I'm sorry.
Oh, like just skill wise, like, how has it changed like when you were growing up, like, with just the fundamentals and like just as you progress from being a player to now a trainer?
Yeah, I mean, the Warriors, I'm gonna give them all the credit or blame, depending on how you look at it. Steph Curry, I should more so. It's like he made the game become so fun for the world. Like before, like when I was growing up, if you hooped, you loved the game. Like it was like if you were part of basketball, you loved the game, you loved the grind, you loved playing defense, you loved just whatever. But Steph Curry made it so fun and cool that like, and like he's in the Bay, like tech area, doctors. It's like he just brought in a whole new demographic of people into basketball. So I would just say the game is huge now, but it's a lot of just people that are a part of it because I mean, they don't really understand the nuances and stuff of the game like that.
Yeah, I think you bring up a great point too when you said that the IQ right now is the lowest it's ever been. Because I totally agree. I think people are starting off training at a very young age, but it's just like skills. And then getting into the gym and actually getting runs in is very far and few between. Like my dad said that he would grow up and he would just get a super cold ice water bottle and then just go out to the courts all day in the summer in Arizona and just play. So he would just play games and then develop his IQ and his skill that way. But now it's like, all right, we're getting in the gym, we're training, but the games, it's very, very limited.
And then look at it. In basketball, how dependent is your success on your other 4 people on the floor? A lot. And
Yeah.
most people are getting into training and like it's all about them. It's like, all right, yeah, I just missed 10 shots in a row. All right, shoot the next one. Or, it's all me, internal focus. When the game is like it's so much communication and I got my teammates back and understanding, okay, you dropped my pass, but it's fine. I'm gonna trust you next time. Or I dropped your pass. Let me tell you my bad. It's little stuff like that. So, and it wasn't too. I'm old. You call me whatever. I used to do the same thing growing up. Even when I moved out here, like it's funny. Like I used to be like 20. Like my license picture when I was 16. This first summer I moved out here. Like I looked Ethiopian, like super dark, because I was in the park all day, every day, like playing with anybody, like little 5'4" little Mexican dudes at the park or like whoever. Like it was just like that's just what you did growing up. And now it's like it's few and far between. So as a trainer, that's when you got to realize like your service has changed. Like you're not to teach anyone how to go between the legs. You teach them how to play, when to play, and put them at advantage. And then you hope that they run into a good coach. So Taylor, I hope that like when I trained you, like your coach could then take what I did and elevate it because you're now ready. You see the game from a different lens. So that's the kind of that's the handicap feeling as a trainer. You're like, I can take you only so far, but your coach like be able to finish the circle for you.
Unfortunately, that was not the case for me. So I just wish I was in a different system where I could have implemented what we learned and what you taught me over summer. But I just think it doesn't happen for everybody.
You seem to have coped with it very soon. Like you just now, it's funny you call yourself a retired athlete. You just retired like 2 months ago, and like you already seem to be at a good place with that.
Yeah, like I say I am, but that's just to make me, feel better. Because honestly, the first 2 weeks, Elijah, I was like lost. I didn't know what to do. People were asking me like, "Oh, hey, like whatever, what do you do?" And I'm like, I guess I can't say I'm a college athlete anymore. I'm not on the basketball team. Like I don't know. So it's hard. And I just feel like it's weird because I have come to an end where I don't feel like I have closure,
Yeah.
And I feel like I haven't reached my potential. So I don't know. Right now, I'm like, I don't even want to step foot into a gym. I don't even want to dribble a basketball. I don't want to do anything. Like, I just need a break. But I just need to get back into the gym and play again to find my love for it,
Yep.
Hey, at least y'all like this anyways. Y'all like tight like glue. Like tight
No,
like
like
glue.
when I tell you this man woke up, me and Macy Marcus and Elijah Knox would get up at 5:30?
Yeah, 5:30. Yep.
Yeah, 5:30 a.m. every other day over summer and just get some work in. Like that was so fun and we got so much better. And the fact that he woke up at 5:30, like who does that? Literally nobody
We
does
were
that.
at the gym at 5:30. I woke up earlier than 5:30. We were at the gym on the court at 5:30.
Yeah.
But
What's
no, I
the
mean,
longest what's
go
the
ahead.
longest that y'all worked out?
Usually 90 minutes max. I used to be like a long workout guy, but Dame Lillard, he made a good point. It's like if you can't get what you need to get in an hour and a half, then like something's broken.
Yeah, like we would be so effective with the time that we had in, and then we were supposed to be having an hour sessions, but we'd go over because we'd like play one-on-one at the end.
She kept losing. She wanted to run it back. How that goes.
Honestly, it was the other way around because he's embarrassed because other people would be looking in there like, oh my God, this girl is kicking this dude's butt. No, but as an owner of Arizona Athletics, like how have you been able to make a positive impact on the next generation?
That's a great question. Um, I mean, I haven't. That's not what I set out to do. It just happens when you just genuinely interested in something. So I would say I would just like lead by example for my kids. Like, I show up, every day for them. Usually not at 5 a.m. like some, but I show up when I need to show up for them. I try to be involved in their life outside of basketball, but my schedule kind of makes it harder. But if I ever can show up to something that they don't have, like something not basketball related, because basketball matters a lot, but it's a lot bigger than hoops. Um, and yeah, I just try to connect. I mean, kids are they're not their brains aren't developed yet, so most of my development for them happens to their parents. So like they don't know it, but I might have a conversation with them. And when I say kids, I'm saying like pre-college. Um, I have a conversation with them, and then on the back end, I'm having a conversation with their parents so I can like complete the gap. And then like what I say to a 15-year-old is not going to make it all 100% to the parent. So whatever I say to them, I try to make it super concise, and then I have the real adult conversation with the parent because I'm with them 23 hours. I mean, 1 hour out of the 24. So try to make sure my messages I'm trying to get to them are delivered to the adult. And typically 9.9 out of 10 times, the parent and I are saying the exact same thing. It's just since I'm the like uncle type person, or, I'm closer to their age than their parent, who's usually like 10, 15, 20 years older than me. Um, then they hear it differently. And then, I mean, you just hear the shit from different, the more you hear it, the more you hear it. So like my wife could tell me something about something not I'm doing something that annoys her, and then my best friend tells me something that annoys him, and then a client I have says the same thing. I'm like, okay, it's me, it ain't them. So I just try to be, one of the positive voices.
How are you able to balance being an entrepreneur, like owner of Arizona Athletics, and being a player development for the Phoenix Mercury?
For timing, I just happy that like, as Taylor, you're a young buck, you're coming up, and I'm sure actually, you kind of have the same thing. It's like you want everything right now. So when I was 21, I probably would have wished I had this position then. But there's no way I could have been able to balance and have the foundation that I needed to make it happen. But my business is 6 years old this July, so I have really like 8 coaches that I really trust that have known me for a time. They aren't me, but they can deliver the messages that I want to well enough for me to be not around at every single step of the moment. So I really shout out to my coaching crew because I'm a unique individual. Like I love the game and I look at it like they call me like they say I have like the Mamba lens of it. Like I take the shit serious. Off court, I'm lighter, but like when it's time to get some shit done, like it's time to get some shit done. Taylor is funny. One time Macy, I gotta tell you the first time I met Macy. She was on my team in an open gym.
Mm-hmm.
Bit her head off because she was like playing lax defense. Um,
Oh,
I don't know if she'll remember that story. Oh, she probably will.
She
Um,
probably will, yeah.
it never has ever come up again. But I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, how did I meet Macy? And then I was like, oh, that was that girl at that run that like whatever, whatever. So yeah, I take it super serious. So I shout out my staff because I just sometimes I'm short with them. I understand you got to be personable, you got to whatever. But when it's time to get the job done, you gotta get that job done.
you mentioned you're from Chicago, especially you said your love of the
Southside.
basketball. you mentioned you mentioned your love for the game came from his airness, Michael Jordan. Was he the person that you looked up to, or was there other players that you kind of looked up to and wanted to mold your game after?
Yeah, Mike. I don't play anything like him, but I respect that was my yeah, that's what I looked up to. Him and Kobe. So I get
Yes.
Jordan gave me my love for it, and then Kobe was like 2.0. Like that was my age group. Like he came in the league at 97. Jordan retired. Like Jordan won his first
96.
championship the year I was born. So like I don't remember that. But I remember just the excitement of going to the like parades and like my dad having me on his shoulder. So that like gave me the love. And then Kobe would do the similar actions. And I don't play like either one of those dudes, but how detailed their game is kind of where like I fell in love with it. Jason Kidd would be the first person that like I was like, oh, I want to play like that guy. Like he gets the
Mm.
ball, makes it fun, like alley oops, dimes, all that stuff.
Yeah, he was actually a lot of people don't know this, but Jason Kidd is one of the only 4 college athletics to have one or more two like at least 2 different statistic titles in college.
What do you
So
have?
like,
Points and assists? Steals and assists.
yeah, so like in college, so not a lot of people have that feature. Like maybe people will have like 1, but like at least 2, that's difficult.
Yeah.
So like,
No, I mean, he guarded LeBron in the finals the year Dallas won, and he was
yeah.
35 years old at the time, 6'5". He's smart, dude. Yeah.
And you mentioned, I know you mentioned, owning Arizona Athletics, and you mentioned, having that Mamba lens with, Kobe building the Mamba Sita gym. Both of y'all are very similar by, providing having your own, gym and providing that safe space and gym for women and everybody else. How important was it that, to have that type of, like, just have something like that for everybody?
It's great. I mean, it was dope when he got into the girls' game. I think that's when like the clout behind it started. So that was cool. I mean, you take notoriety in the game regardless how you get it. So I think that was really cool. That brought a lot of people in it. And then I mean, his passing was like the saddest thing I've ever like of a non-family member. Like crazy.
Yeah.
And then like that was one thing which was crazy. Like he was a beyond millionaire. Could have just been on his couch being lazy. He'd done all his work, but he was coaching 12-year-old, 13-year-old girls. On the way to do that when it happened. And then like the saddest part, if you think, is like all those young kids that was on that. Like I think it was like Gigi would have turned 17 yesterday or today or something like that.
Today.
It's like man, like what would that have unlocked?
That's
So
crazy.
it's rewarding because you get to like you don't get to see that story, but you get to see many others play out and just do your best at it as the best you can. I'm not going to do what he could do because he's Kobe Bryant, but
Right. Yeah, so you mentioned the clout of the game. Do you think that a lot of trainers are getting into the girls' game now because it's like a clout kind of thing? Or do you think they're doing it because they actually love the women's game?
no, because it's for clout. Because if they love the women's game, they train them like they train their guys. It's like, bro, you can't do that. Like I'm not being like I don't have any brothers. I grew up in a house with 3 older sisters. My dad worked a lot, so it's like my mom and 3 sisters and me in the house all the time. So like you just know, girls and guys are different. Fundamentally, everything. So like, and then you look at the game, and then Taurasi even says it. She's like, the women, you can't look at the NBA and do what you do in the WNBA. Like, it's just completely different games. So it's like, if you really cared about the women's game, aside from getting a like on Instagram or like whatever else comes with that, like you would know and you would operate differently. That's why like I could have had guys in a lot of those sessions, but it's like we'll throw them in there every once in a while, so I don't have to run around and play defense on y'all. But like it's just a different beast.
So what got you into coaching women at first? Was it your first client being a girl and you were like, oh, this is dope to work with her?
Yeah, and she kind of Meredith. I'm gonna say her last name wrong. I always get it wrong. Is Riker or Riker? Riker. It's spelled Reiker. I've been to her graduation, senior night. It's not that I don't love that family, but I just can't remember if it's Riker or Riker. Meredith, from Iowa. Yeah, my junior year, she was a 3rd grader, 5th grader, whatever. I don't know. The memories still come up on my like stories and stuff. She was one of those like you, Taylor. Like she had that like she come in the gym, whatever the assignment was for the day, knockdown. It was crazy. But what I learned after her, even guys, like every athlete isn't that same way. So she kind of spoiled me. I tell her all the time, like you gave me such a false hope of what training is. But yeah, I mean, I started with her and I just followed her game. And I didn't continue training girls at that point because not many athletes are like that, and it's even harder to find girls like that.
Yeah.
Just have so many interests because you have to. Like, my hair looks like this. Y'all got to worry about your hair. I don't wear makeup. Y'all wear makeup. Like it's just
I don't wear makeup. I'm sorry. I don't.
Did you get you got your eyebrows done? I ain't never got my eyebrows done.
Oh, wow. They look pretty good for not getting them done. From a distance, I mean.
Yeah, it's the trick camera I got. Yeah, so like girls have just a lot of interest in hobbies, and like it's hard to find that girl athlete that like really basketball is the thing they want to spend a lot of their time on.
Mm-hmm.
So I learned through that web. So I would say I met a group of sisters out here, not black girls, actually sisters, out here like probably like 5 years ago. And you know, I trained them, and it was the one was 2 years older than them, so like I would train her in a group of her friends, then the other one in a group of their friends. So then I started like, you know, getting back into the girls' game out here. And then, you know, I just used to hear about like, oh, our club practice got canceled. It's always canceled. It's blah, blah, blah. So then like, I was like, all right, well, this sucks. Like, I'll just have open gym in my gym. And then like, they're like, make a club. I was like, no, I don't want to have a girls club. And then like, literally like summer after summer, they would complain. So I was like, all right, let's get into it. So then I dove elbow deep into the girls game. And I'm still on both sides, but it's just such it's such an underserved group that I end up getting just more girl clients because, I mean, trainers half-ass do it for the girls.
Dang, you said trainer half-assed. It's not, you know what I would say, it's not a lot of trainers like, you know, you're actually the first person like that actually trains, that actually invest in women, like not just like when I say invest in women, like actually like want to help women, you're like an advocate for women in sports because it's not a lot of it. Like you said, a lot of the trainers they do it for clout, like saying, "Oh, I did it because I just trained this person." I'm like, you know, yeah, I know her, but like, you know, how would you describe how different is your training style from others? Like, how would you describe your training style that stands out?
I mean, I don't really. I mean, I'm training, so I don't know what other people are doing. Um, but my results are like, I would put them against anybody's that I get. So, um, I don't know. Like, it's hard to like, and it's also hard to tell like what people put on Instagram might not be what they're actually training on. So like that might just be what they wanted to post on Instagram. So
Mm.
I don't really get into the what that trainer does, what I do. Some trainers I like though, Drew Hanlon, he trains like most of the buckets in the NBA, Jason Tatum, Joel Embiid, Brad Beal, um, Phil Beckner. He trains Dame Lillard. I would say those two I do really enjoy. Um, I don't really know what everybody's doing. I base the trainer on the results I see. So like I get a lot of kids that come to me, it's like, who did you train with growing up? And they'll say XYZ. So I hear that enough. I'm like, okay, you must not be a good trainer because not everybody that's trained with me is really good. But if you survey 100 people I train, probably 78 of them are going to be like good. So I kind of judge the trainer on the product. So I don't really know what a lot of trainers are doing. So Taylor would probably be better to answer that than I would.
I mean, literally out of every person that I've ever trained with, this dude is the most game-like situation, and he's definitely not doing it for, you can tell when people are just doing it for the money. Like, he's very invested in our lives off the court, on the court, checks in with us all the time. Like, I haven't seen Elijah in this last year. I haven't talked to you in forever, like, you know, but he's still very like checking up on me all the time, seeing how I'm doing. Like, it's just it's a different kind of training relationship. A lot of trainers literally are just going to take your money and then be like, all right, here's an hour session. So I think that investment piece is super key, and that's something that separates you from the rest. And then also the game like situation, and then filming us. And then we had open runs over summer, so it was cool because Elijah would come and he'd be like, all right, let's see if this training is implementing into the games. And then whatever he sees in the games, then we would work on that at training the next day. So it's like always game like situation.
You know, there's a term for trainers that actually do it for the money and that it's not serious. You know, there's a term for it, right? Like a name for it.
What is it?
Shot doctors. So they're like this and
Oh
this.
Lord.
So like just hit
Yeah,
like I'll teach you how to shoot, but I'm gonna need that money.
shooting trainers are unique, and I got some that I really like. So yeah, shooting trainers. I won't even go down that rabbit hole.
I'm just saying, like, you know, some people
No, I
they
know what you're
go
saying. Yeah, but I have some friends that I'm gonna just stay out of that.
like you just be minding your business and doing what you need to do. Just like, you know what? I know what I can bring to the table. Like I do what I need to do to help these people. Like, you know, it's you know, Look, I mean, you have Taylor. That should be like your testimony. Like if you have,
That's what I show.
like if like that's your testimony right here, Taylor. Like from like I said, like, Taylor talks about you all the like a lot. Like this the fact that when you have someone that actually admires you and that's inspired by you, that I feel like that says a lot about a person. That should say like, man, I am so blessed to do what I need to do. I'm like thankful for this stuff like that. Do you ever feel like that?
All the time. All the time. But it's just me paying it forward. My first trainer, I got like he was one of my mentors that helped me make this decision to go down this path. And New York City guard, he had all the work, and it was like to that point I hadn't trained. I've seen trainers like especially out here, and it was the money. It was the shot doctor trainers. It was like I would go with my friend and we do some training. It was just a whole bunch of just random shit. It was like I'm never gonna do that. Like why?
Yeah.
Like I'm never gonna do this. Like why am I spending time doing it? And it was never just an assessment. It was never a feedback of my game. And the first time I trained with the trainer, Rich, shout out Rich. Like he was like, all right, we're gonna go warm up. And I was like, he's like, all right, go that in between the legs, back. And like I used to be all one speed, so like boom, everything quick, 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 quick. So like I got back to the end. He's like, why'd you go so fast? I was like, you said go. He's like, yeah, but like I didn't see any slow reps in there. And like so we like I never looked at my game like that. I was like, oh shit, like I am like very easy to guard because I'm either gonna go 100 miles an hour, or I'm not moving. So I mean, and I still talk to him to this day, every so often. So I mean, it's just, and I love it. I love basketball. So if you love basketball, I'm gonna love you. So Taylor's one of those ones that love basketball. So like, we have that common interest. It makes me want to know like how did you become this way? Because you're unique. And I have the fortune now, like I said, I've been doing this long enough. I typically only work with that type of person. Like you love the game, your work ethic is extreme, which is rare. So then I would just want to learn more about you. Oh, you used to swim until XYZ age. Where'd you grow up playing ball? Like, how did I not hear about it? So then it just becomes, mutual interest. So
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah,
Taylor.
seriously, I wish I would have had you growing up. Because imagine, like, wow, I could have been the next Diana,
you would have been it.
maybe.
You got
But
this
how did you
bun.
start
You need to
working?
raise. You need your bun to come up.
No, I need the bun to come up and I need her gel. Can you ask her what gel she uses? Because,
Argentinian. Maybe that's like something. I'll ask her though.
oh, yeah. Because I have so many flyaways, but I just need like hers.
I'll get you. I'll ask. I'm sure she gets that question a lot. She has her
So,
Bond has a Twitter account.
no,
Sorry.
it's so funny. Like, I don't know how her hair honestly hasn't fallen out because it's just slicked back at all times. Like, even when she's not playing basketball, it's
But it's not
just,
like it's just a lot. It is pretty fresh. Now that you mention it.
it is. It is pretty nice. But how did you get connected with Skylar and Dinah?
I was a practice player for the Mercury. I used to come in and like
Hey.
be like a scout guy. I never done that in my life. So I didn't know what a lot of the guys that had doing it have been doing it 10, 11 years. But one of the friends I had growing up in one of my jobs, she was like, "Hey, we need help for the Mercury, blah blah blah. Can you come in?" So I just came in. It was during the Olympic year. I think it was COVID happening at the time. Yeah, it was COVID. So it was like super weird time. But I had time in the middle of my day because all the kids, get out of school at 4 o'clock. So I used to come in and work with the players, and then um, I was unique in my skill set. And I think I'm trying to think who the first person. I think it was Skylar actually. I think Skylar was the first person to ask like, "Hey, can we get extra whatever in?" So then like when the other players see me working with seeing Skylar respect me, then like it just became natural. And at the time, Zach, he's actually on the Liberty staff, New York Liberty staff right now. He asked me to come in like on off days, like to do training workouts. So that I would just come in and just be like basically like a defensive dummy, or like, I didn't really have much of a role other than just being there rebounding or passing or just giving them a read. And then one became a two became a three. And then Taurasi actually made the biggest push. She was like, "Yo, dude, like we need this dude more. Like, how do we get him on staff?" And they opened the position for me. So it didn't plan on that way. I actually got into it to learn, and that's how I did it for free. It was like, if I'm gonna have this girls club, I need to know like, okay, what does it look like at the top? Like what to expect coming down. So I would just learn from like, okay, well, like if these girls are doing this, what do I expect my girls to do? And so that was kind of why I got into it, but it kind of morphed into something more. Just, I mean, because I'm kind of good at what I do.
I love the confidence.
I mean, it's proven.
Yeah, no, it is. And also, what do you notice is the biggest difference between like training someone like Diana and then training someone like Skylar, who's basically at her prime right now, and Diana's towards the end of her career?
Um, I would say, I mean, load management, really, like, you know, and then I mean, they're kind of in the same boat when it comes to like, you don't really need to add stuff to Skylar Diggins' bag. So I would say they're kind of in the same boat ish. Skylar maybe has more intense days throughout a week of 7, but similar. They just do what they do really well. Give them reads, whatever. I would say a younger player like a Jenny Sims. We talked about Ashley New on the team, or like younger than that. I would say you add some variety. Like a lot of if you're younger than that, like around, I would say sub 27, you probably got some holes in your game. You need to like really fill up. Above that, it's like you got some holes you possibly could fill up, but you really just need to make sure what you do is, still sharp and to the point.
I may need to get a Jenny Sims Mercury jersey, since that was actually one of my on my birthday wish list like this year. So I may have to get that, invest in that.
Semi-automatic.
Yeah, shout out to her. So shout out to Jenny.
She was
So
one also. She was before I got on staff. She was someone else I worked out with. So like before I got on staff, like they were asking me to work out anyway. Jenny Sims, Cunningham, Sophie, Sky, DT.
Brianna Turner.
Uh, I didn't work out with Breezy beforehand. I mean I would help out here, but like she's not like I like. And then Kia Nurse, like those 5, like asked for my number specifically. Okay, at a practice later tonight, what are you doing? Can you come? Whatever. So yeah, no, that was a shout out to them for sure.
So, what does a training week look like for them, like on top of practices and weights and conditioning, all that?
Off season, it looks like 5 days a week training, off court training. So, in season, you usually just add it to the end of practice, and you put in whatever the day is. So, like today, for instance, was like a low load day. So you have a low load workout after, and it's usually 20-25 minutes. And when it's a gym full of players, like you can't really dive into weaknesses. Nobody wants to be whatever. So you just work on like, shooting or something like, if for whatever reason, somebody had an off day, they want to come in later tonight, that's when you can kind of dive into stuff. But in season, it's more about making sure that when we play real games, they're ready, geared up, ready to go.
So, are those sessions, the 5 sessions, are they like hours?
Yeah, usually, yeah, it's an hour every time.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep, hour every time, and then yeah, I mean, not too different than what I do with you, except 2 more days, and then they do work. What's really incredible is they do an hour of strength and conditioning before the workout, and then after the workout, then that's when we work out. So it's like it's a pro athlete, man. They deserve so much respect. It's an impossible. It's crazy.
I do have a question for Elijah. How would you, if you had to tell first of all, what makes you more than an athlete? And if you had to tell your younger self what to expect, what would you tell that person?
How young are we talking? Like super
However young you want to be.
Like 15, 21. I'm more than an athlete because I'm not an athlete anymore. I'm retired, like Taylor likes to say.
Yeah, we're both NARPs.
My wife calls that muggles. Like she played.
Like Harry Potter.
Yeah, she's like, if you weren't an athlete, they used to call like the non-athlete muggles. Shout out to all the non-athletes in the world, but you are a muggle or
I've never heard of that. That's funny.
You never watched Harry Potter?
Girl. No, I have, but I don't remember the muggle thing.
That means they were not magic, and you had the blood, like the pure blood was people that came from magic family, and then the muggles, like Hermione, she was magic, but her family was not magic.
Okay. Okay, muggles, got it.
Continue, Elijah.
Shout out. And then my younger self. Yeah, I would say, yeah, kind of what I said earlier of like things happen when they need to happen. So I would say Kobe's passing is really the thing that clicked of like it is cliche. Like, you know, about the journey, it's not the destination. And like that just really gave me a moment. COVID happened a month after that, 2 months after that. It's like it just really gave me a time of like, man, like it really is about the journey because you just never know what's next. Like you could do everything right, have the best intentions, be great to people, whatever, and you just never know. So, yeah, I would say just tell my younger self, just man, things will happen when they're ready to happen. You just do the work beforehand so that when it's ready to happen, then you're ready. So like I walk into this gym every day to train Olympians, and I'm super confident because I know the work I put in as a trainer, as a basketball mind, as IQ. No matter what curveball of a question I get thrown at whoever I'm working with, BG or the point guards, like I've got enough in my bag to do it. And I couldn't say that, 10 years ago when I would have probably wanted this opportunity to do it. So, and that's what I will say, since we're on the She Is Serious podcast and it's about women empowerment, I will say that like that is something that women are naturally better at than males. Like, like it's they like a woman will like want to make sure she's super qualified before applying for a job, and a male, like I could have never swam in my life and I would like apply for a dang swim instructor class. Like, oh, I'll figure it out. I'll go as I whatever. So that might not be rocket science to the female listeners that are listening, but any of your male listeners, or even just you as a young entrepreneur coming up in the game, Taylor, like things will happen when they need to happen. You just keep doing the work. And somebody's watching, everybody's watching. Like, I watch your stuff often, and somebody that's going to give you an opportunity to watch your stuff often. So things will happen when they need to, and just enjoy the journey and don't get caught into trying to make everything happen in today.
Hey.
Love it.
Shout out
So
to you,
inspirational.
Taylor. Shout out to you, Taylor, for this guest. Hello.
No, yeah, you're actually probably one of the top 12 because we've had 12. No, I'm just kidding.
I'll be top 12. How did we meet? I don't remember how you start training me.
Open runs. I went to the runs, and then afterwards I was like, man, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. And you're like, why don't you just take as many years as you possibly can? And then you were like, when can you get in the gym? I said, can we go early morning? And you were like, sure. And then we went at 5:30. No, where did we go? Actually, our first training session was at a Lifetime Fitness.
And they started hooping.
I was like, is this guy really about to charge me for a training session in the middle of like an open run? I did not think this was going to be good at first. And then we went through the training session and it was like amazing. I was like, oh, yeah, this guy's legit. And then me and Macy, we would always work out with Elijah, and it was just like, it's like the three amigos.
Yeah. Well, Macy missed quite a few mornings, but
She did.
shout out you for not. I can't remember maybe you missed one. Maybe I don't remember you missing one.
No.
Coming a thing of like, all right, let me wait for my 4:45 text from Taylor that she's not gonna make it. So if you did miss one, it went under the radar.
Yeah, I did not miss Macy for sure. She'd be like, oh man. Or she would come and she's like, oh, I'm not feeling good. But shout out to Macy though, for real, because most people wouldn't even wake up that early anyway. So
yeah, no, it's no shade. But
yeah.
No
shade.
I don't have to put her down to put you up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course.
Boom. There you go. See, folks need to learn that, how to uplift folks without throwing shade. You can still, what to say, we got to learn how to celebrate others' blessings, because what folks is doing, don't let someone else's blessings discourage you. Let it encourage you.
Oh, that was nice.
Talk to him.
Well, Elijah, we appreciate you coming on today, and looking forward to our one-on-one game. We'll definitely get on home court. So that's exciting.
Ashley, make sure in 2 weeks you ask her about that too. Make sure you run that back.
I will. It'll be on here. Here's the thing. It'll be on the YouTube and everything, so you can run it back and play it back. So
yeah,
you have receipts and evidence. So it's like, so didn't
Taylor.
you just say this? Hold on, wait a minute. Let me play it back real quickly.
Hey, all I'm saying is my feet have gone quicker ever since I'm a retired college athlete now. I'm just in the gym doing quick feet. So
That's
the
great.
defense is just going to be lockups.
I love the sounds of it. But in the game, you got to put it in the basket, and it sounds like you ain't been in the gym. So
No, but it's just muscle memory at this point, It's just my IQ's improved because I've been watching some games.
got it.
Yeah.
Well, I
thank
mean,
y'all
at
for
least you
having
got
me.
evidence. At least
This
you
is
have
great.
evidence with this podcast, this episode. You have evidence, but like,
Yeah, we got the receipts. The receipts are here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But thank you so much. And shout out, we hope that everybody in America gets as great as a trainer as Elijah. He's done a lot for me and a lot of other women in basketball, not only on the women's side actually, but on the male side as well. So if you're in the Phoenix area, check him out. Elijah Knox, Arizona Athletics is going places. And we will see you next Tuesday, 7 a.m. Pacific time, 10 a.m. Eastern time. And this is why we're serious about being taken seriously. Peace.